Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the June edition of Coffee Talk with Nate. We are live from Tofino. We're still waking up, got our coffee in hand. We tackled the Coca-Cola, hopped on a ferry, drove some more,
Saw some goats on a roof.
saw goats on a roof, and then drove some more. And then we landed in Tofino, and I gotta say, even for the short period of time that we've been here, we're both really excited to come check this out and
Go surfing.
go surfing. Yeah. So besides all like work stuff, we're gonna make some time for some play, and yeah, I think Tofino is a place to make that happen. But we're not here to talk about our time on the island. I'm actually, this is a special event. I've got first interview with Coffee Talk with Nate happening, and I have Kerri-Ann Hutton, who is a registered massage therapist in the Okanagan region of British Columbia, West Kelowna specifically. Her focus is predominantly pediatric massage, but she does full family, so children and adults. And we're going to be talking about some of the work that she does within that field. I've got a few questions that I was going to ask her. Beyond that, I was going to open
People
it up.
can ask.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say, if you have any questions that you wanted to ask, you are more than welcome to post them up. And if I'm able to catch it in time, I will bring that to Kerri-Ann's attention. The coffee's still kicking in, so I'm a little slow on the uptake. So without any further ado, let's get this going. So welcome, Kerri-Ann.
Thank you.
Now, if you didn't already catch on, both of us have the last name Hutton, which means that yes, she is actually married to me, which is incredible all on its own. Somebody can put up with all of my crap on a daily basis, but I'm really happy that she's put up with it for as long as she has. With that in mind, though,
Oh my gosh.
it's with that in mind, she was kind enough to come in to talk about her work, and the reason why I wanted to bring Kerri-Ann in as one of our, as one of hopefully the many interviews that I'm able to do with this, is the fact that the work that she does do. Now, anybody who lives out in Ontario, if you ever had her as your RMT, you know the work that she does and how incredible she is at it. I know out here word has already spread, and there's talk on the playground amongst children that there are that they're comparing.
They have the same massage therapist.
They have the same massage therapist. So I mean, this is not me just trying to promote my wife's work. It's the fact that she's really good at what she does. So that's why I wanted to bring her in.
It could be the fact that my attention span is like 30 seconds long, but
Squirrel.
it's raining.
It's not raining. It's fine. It's a little cloudy here in Tofino, but you want to know something?
There's
We're surrounded by
bamboo
green.
growing right
Yeah.
here.
We're surrounded by greenery. It's amazing. So okay. First question that I had for you is, if anybody has never really dealt with registered massage therapy or just massage therapy in general, what could they expect? Like, what would you? How does that process take place?
Okay, so the difference between massage, like a registered massage therapist and someone who's certified, I think I'm going to start there. Someone who is registered has gone through the provincial exams. There's expectations set in place. There's a governing body set in place. So we have rules and codes of conduct and all of that that we have to follow. Whereas someone who's certified, maybe they've just gone and taken a course. They don't necessarily have that set into place. Most benefit companies are covered under, will cover registered massage therapy, so that way, you have a certain percentage that's paid for by your insurance company, so that's less out of your pocket, which is kind of great. When you're walking into a massage therapy session, it's a little bit, registered massage therapy, we're focusing a little bit more clinically on what's going on with you, whether that is injury or it's something like, you're just stressed, you're dealing with anxiety, you're having sleep issues, insomnia is a big one. It could be you're having digestive issues. For myself, with children, I'm working with kids who are dealing with anxiety. Some of them have back pain, depending on how old they are or what they're doing physically. If they're involved in sports, they might have an injury from soccer, from hockey, from dance, skating. You know, I might see kids who are, they're diagnosed on the spectrum. Their parents are like, we just need to get them to sleep at night, or they're not digesting their food well, and they're having, you know, constipation, and so we treat for that. And there's just so many, you know, little kids with cancer. That's another one. You know, they're in a lot of pain or discomfort, or, you know, sometimes nurturing touch. They just need that touch, right? That is not going to be painful or overstimulating for them. So there's lots of different things. So as an adult walking in, if you're coming in and you have, you know, a sore back, very common. You know, you would walk in, we would chat about what's going on, a little assessment would be performed, we come up with a little bit of a treatment plan for that first treatment. Again, every time is an observation and an assessment, and then we get you treated and we see how you're doing, give you some home care, and yeah, it's something that can happen regularly, like every week, every other week. You could go in and see a massage therapist monthly. So it all depends on what your treatment plan is and what your goal is, but it's beneficial for absolutely everyone. I mean, we all have bones, we all have muscles, we all have connective tissue. So massage therapy can really help to decrease tension and pain, and or stimulate muscles that maybe have become a little flaccid. So yeah, just lots of different benefits. And I think talking to a registered massage therapist before you go in, have a little phone interview or send them an email or go in and meet them, and then go for half an hour, check them out, make sure it's a good fit, because I'm a bit of a talker. Good morning. And you know, so I spend a lot of time talking to my clients to make sure they're okay while we're treating. It's very important that you get checked in with. So especially little kids, I want to check in with them and make sure they're okay. Is my pressure too hard? Is it too heavy? Do you need to go lighter? You know, with adults, you know, is this too much pressure? Do you need me to back off? Do you not enjoy what I'm, you know, this technique I'm using? Because if you're not enjoying it, you need to let me know, because communication is key. That's going to go into pretty much everything else we talk about for this morning, but, you know, communication is key. And you know, some massage experiences you'll go into and they're very quiet, your massage therapist, and sometimes that's what you would like, but if you're not feeling comfortable, you really need to speak up, because it's your body and it's also the safety of your body. And you know, consent is a huge thing. So that's all around. Doesn't matter if you're, you know, 3 weeks old. Yes, we teach consent with 3 weeks old with massage therapy to, you know, up and beyond 100. So yeah, consent, and make sure you're communicating, and there you go. Beneficial to everyone.
Okay, so now for, like, I grew up in a household where it was very common for us to do massage plus chiropractic.
Your mom's on here.
Hey, Mom. And
sorry, say it again. You grew up where you did?
I grew up in a house where, like, chiropractic and massage, like, it was very commonplace. Yeah. So for me to get booked in for an appointment, it was really no big deal. Growing up, I've come across a number of individuals where they've been dead set against either one, just because, and some of it has been, the talk is like it's they don't have benefit coverage, or for some of them, they're just worried that their body's going to be hurt more than it is going in. Yeah. So my question to you is, would that be like a common fear for somebody who's new to it, or now especially with, say, new parents, young children, like, yes, how do those kind of conversations come? Because I know that there are benefits for massaging infants. I just
want to stop you before you finish asking a bunch of questions,
okay,
all
okay,
in one question.
Right, so
okay, first of all, sometimes there's fear behind it, of course, because if you're already in pain, you know, maybe you've gone and you've seen another practitioner that as a result you've come out in more pain. Now, sometimes there are techniques that are very aggressive. I think it's also the approach. So if the therapist is very aggressive, then, you know, you might end up a little sore or really, really sore. It also depends on your pain tolerance. And again, I'm going to go back to communication. If you're lying on the table, you know, you're having your leg worked on, you know, your thigh has been bothering you, there's a bruise, whatever, and then a therapist gets in there and it's hurting you, but you're not communicating that. They don't know. Their pressure might be a little too deep for you, and then you're sore for a few days after, maybe a week after, right? And then that sort of leaves a bad taste in people's mouths. And sometimes they'll go and they'll tell all their friends. right? But every experience is different, every perception is different, and everyone communicates differently, and every therapist that you communicate with is going to communicate differently. So you just have to make sure that everything is open, and if you are having a treatment, you talk about the things that you're worried about in terms of feeling sore after, or this area is the area of concern. I want you to focus in on this area right now, and let's just talk through it, right? So, and this is one thing that I talk to people about with going to a chiropractor. I'm going to, just because you mentioned chiropractor, because there's a big fear around, especially a neck adjustment. Cervical spine can be very worrisome to people, right? You read articles sometimes that come up. You get your waiver from the chiropractor, and it's like, it talks about some of the side effects and risks involved. That's something you need to make sure that you express that to a chiropractor. Their job is to work on your alignment and to help get the vertebrae into a better functioning, more functioning position for you, so that the nerves can feed properly into the visceral, into your organs. The nerves can feed properly into your muscles. So if you're not communicating again to them that, you know what, you can adjust me from the neck down, don't adjust my neck because that's uncomfortable for me, or I'm worried because I've heard these stories of, possible risks and things that have happened to people. If you don't say it, we don't know it. And again, it's all about consent, and it's up to you. It's your treatment always. So if you ever need them to stop, or you ever need, myself as a massage therapist, I tell every client every time they come in, you let me know about my pressure. Let me know if you need me to stop or change anything. If you don't speak up though, right, then you're not taking care of yourself and your own health. You're putting it in the hands of somebody else, right? So you just gotta kind of go there, but definitely make sure you tell people if it's something you don't want to have adjusted. But it's great. I'm glad that, I do encourage people to go and check out different practitioners all the time, because not everyone is a perfect fit for every person in that town, so, or city. So you need to just kind of go around and check out who works best with you, who is listening to you and understands what you're saying, who's giving you information and educating you as a practitioner. Like that is our job, is to help provide some education so that you know how to best take care of yourself at home, and also how to communicate during the treatment and on the table. That's the feedback, right? Feedback is number one. That's how we learn, the best thing for you, and then we chart all of that, and then we keep it on record so that we know best how to sort of go from there for your treatments. But anyways,
Okay.
it's loud.
No,
It's
no.
a Saturday morning ramble.
Coffee. Just get it in you. It's all good.
Yeah.
Drink it up.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, the next thing I wanted to ask you though is, I have a question regarding the work that you did back in Ontario. You were with, you were, I guess, affiliated, if that's the proper word, with Little Kids Foundation.
I was trained by Tina Allen.
Okay.
So Tina Allen is a phenomenal pediatric massage therapist. She travels the world. She teaches infant massage, pediatric massage, but she just, and there's so many different courses that you can take with Tina Allen. As a registered massage therapist, it's fantastic because we can put it into our practice. So her teachings are just like phenomenal. So I was very honored when she asked me to come to the Canadian Massage Conference and represent Little Kids, the Little Kids Foundation, as a pediatric massage therapist, and be able to talk to other registered massage therapists, chiropractors, physiotherapists, just general practitioners who are coming through for the conference. So very great. So she helped me with all of my training. I took a bunch of courses from her. So my infant massage teacher certification I took with Tina, pediatric massage therapy certification, massage for little kids with cancer, massage for kids with autism, diagnosed with autism. So yeah, quite a few courses that I just kind of piggybacked. Went through New Jersey and took a course there at the kids hospital, and then in Toronto and stuff, yeah. So, Tina Allen, absolutely the best.
Now, very, very recently, you were interviewed and published in Massage and Fitness.
Yes.
So, I tried reading the whole magazine, and there's a big chunk of it that went over my head. but it
Yeah.
was still like I found the information very interesting. There were just some of the terminology I just
Sure.
didn't understand, but that was just for me personally. But with that article, what were some of the finer points to that piece? If you're comfortable talking about what what they
Sure.
were.
So, Massage and Fitness Magazine. This is a magazine out of California. So I again so honored. I received an email requesting that I, you know, partake in this interview, and I wasn't sure. I was a little nervous, like me. Come on, right? So, like, Nate, we're just in the Okanagan, just trying to semi-retire here, and I'm gonna, you know, be interviewed for this Massage and Fitness Magazine. So, anyways, why not? So, anyways, the article itself was focused in on pediatrics and children dealing with chronic pain. And it's really interesting because I thought, oh well, look at that. That gives us a whole bunch of different scenarios we can look at. In my experience as a practitioner with children that I'm treating who are dealing with chronic pain, so I was like, oh, this is good because there's so many different ways we can go with this. And then when the questions were asked, and I was like, wow, the focus is really really focused in on the connection of the influence in the home. On children and their chronic pain, or the child and their chronic pain. So just sort of like the chicken or the egg, like if the parent's dealing with chronic pain themselves and they're constantly in front of their child and expressing this chronic pain, like the child's going to pick up on that. It's like anything. We learn from the environment that we're placed in, right? We learn the skills, the behaviors, the survival, all of that. And so that's basically what the questions came down to, were my experience and what I was seeing, and it's very interesting. So there were a few questions that were asked, and a few that were, I think I wrote back like way too much information, so they had to edit quite a bit. So I was pretty pleased with what they had put in. I thought it was a really well written article. My experience that I shared, that was placed in that article, is how whenever I'm treating a child, I like to talk to the parents first, kind of get an idea of what's going on and why they're looking into massage therapy. And then I like to observe, I talk to the child and stuff, and parents come into the room when I massage. I think that, that's a safety protocol for the child, right? So kids who are, usually 12 and under, they definitely, I encourage the parents to always be in there. The door can be always open and the parents just sitting out on a chair so they can see and hear all that kind of stuff if that's what the child chooses. In British Columbia, 19 and under is pediatric, 19 and under is child. So I really let the teenagers decide themselves, right, if mom and dad are going to be in there or not. But, really it's a safety thing for them. So I do encourage parents to be in there. I like to also observe parents and their reaction. When I'm talking to their child's on the table, I'm asking what's going on, and the parent starts piping up, I do ask the parents to refrain. Let me talk to the child, let them respond for themselves. You just sit there, you read your magazine, or whatever, go through and do text messages and stuff, and we're gonna chat. And it's quite interesting what I do observe with parents who, if the child's coming in with a sore back, the parents also got a sore back all the time. How the child is coping with it at home is very similar to how the parent is coping with it at home. So that was sort of the link of this, the point, or I guess where the article went that I was interviewed for, is sort of how there's that connection. Is the pain, the chronic pain, starting from the influence of the parent, or does the child really sit with chronic pain? And now, the parent has these symptoms as well, right? So that was just kind of interesting. There is no answer, and what I have to say is every parent is looking for the best outcome for their child. It's not some by proxy, right? Munchausen by proxy, which is something that we learned about in school too. It's not that. It's at least that I believe. I feel parents want the best for their kid. Your kid's complaining because they have a low back or a sore tummy or whatever, and it's ongoing, and you just happen to also have a sore back and whatever. It doesn't mean that it's connected, but it's just very interesting that sometimes that's related in the home, right? That there's the similarity or coincidence with that. But parents, I got your back, man. Like, I know you just want the best for your kid, and so that's what we communicate. And sometimes, I will send a little email to a parent afterwards, or I'll call them just to check in and let them know, maybe next time, this is just something that I suggest, maybe we'll just let your child speak more during the treatment, and maybe you just kind of be a little fly on the wall and hang out, and or when they leave, sometimes after a treatment, I'll just ask parents maybe refrain from showing how much chronic pain, or how much pain you're in when you're at home, because I think they're really picking up on that, and it's, parents are very influential, so we just want to be really mindful of that. It's like anything. It's like anything. If you're sad, the kids can pick up on it. If you're joyful, the kids are going to pick up on it. So worried, anxious, all those, the heavier things or the lighter things, the kids really pick up on it, and they're going to feed off of your energy. And so, that's just something that we want to be really mindful of at home. But yes, so that was a little bit of what the interview was about. So
Okay.
it was very cool.
I know that before becoming an RMT, you had experience as in social services as a child and youth worker. You were also a professional dancer and a yoga therapy instructor. Just to name a few other positions and experiences that you've had as far as training is concerned. Have you ever seen an overlap where you could be dealing with a client on the table, and the skills from something else kind of kicks in, and you're just like, oh, you know what, like, I don't know, I'm just
Always.
thinking off the top of my head,
Yeah,
like
always.
someone who's on the spectrum, or
Yeah.
Someone who's dealing with anxiety or anything like that.
I thought you said no closed-ended questions, mate.
I know.
Yes.
Yes. The answer is yes. So to elaborate on that, would there be any?
Sure.
I don't want you to give away any kind of
No.
confidentiality concerns around client care, but would you be able to elaborate on maybe some experiences of where those skills have overlapped, and so that folks are out there? Because
Absolutely. So, especially with kiddos that are coming in that are dealing with upset stomachs, which if your tummy's a little upset, you're a little, you're staying home from school, you're worried about something possibly, right? So that's, anyways, so kids come in and they chat, they talk to me, we tell stories, we sing songs, sometimes it's me leading and then they give me some information, but a lot, and it's not just kids, so I'm going to talk about like adults too. I have a lot of comments from clients that they're like, I come in here and I come for a massage, I come to treat a certain ailment, whatever's going on, and I end up leaving here feeling so much better because I've been able to at least talk about what's going on, like get other things off my chest. And it's almost like one client's like, I'm here for my therapy session, and it's not that I'm here to be a therapist in that sense, like a talk therapist, but I do feel like everything that I've been trained in so far in my life, because this is just the beginning, because there's more to come, I feel like it all intertwines, and I feel that it benefits everyone as a whole. So spirit, definitely we touch it, like I talk a lot about like energy and what energy we put out there, and the energy that we receive, and how we want to fill our cup before we give everything away again, right? So talking about energy and spirit, sure, some people, they come in, they're very spiritual. I'm as well very spiritual. I don't preach or anything like that, but it's always available that I have, you see angel cards and stuff like that, and it's kind of fun, right? And then I have people that like in their, sorry, I'm just sort of gapping out, in their treatments, I'll start to notice certain things that are going on where, muscle groups, and they might go to the gym and stuff, and muscle groups that aren't working. And so of course with a dance background, not just an RMT background, but a dance background, and with yoga therapy, being able to give them really effective stretches, strengthening exercises, talking about balance, giving some little pointers, things that I've learned from yoga therapy versus remedial exercise as an RMT. You know, there's like, I want to say it's all compartmentalized, but I kind of blend it all in that junk drawer in the kitchen. So whenever I need to pick and pull and take and share, that's exactly what I do. So it all crosses over, absolutely. And you know, kids come to me, sometimes they have nothing really going on. The parents are like, oh, you're a massage therapist, well, we have benefits. And that, absolutely, I just want to say all kids need to have massage too, right? Like everybody, it's so beneficial in so many different ways. But you know, parents coming to me saying, oh, you massage children, well, we have benefits, so you know, what would you do? Like, you would just give, you know, rub their muscles and stuff? Like, yeah, totally. You know, are they dealing with anything? Oh, well, you know, they're just dealing with like social pressures and stuff, feeling a little anxious around that. Sure, bring them in, right? And you know, I just ask them, how was your day? How's school? How are your friends? And that just opens everything up, and these kids start talking. And not in every case, okay, I'm not going to say every case, but it's just a really good way to open the door for them. And then they come in and we sit and we chat. And, you know, I might be massaging their hand, we're making eye contact, they're telling me what's going on with their social life, right? It might be I'm massaging their feet, right? Or I stop massaging and we end up talking because they want to talk about things. And we talk about stretching, and, you know, the kids get home care too. So it all crosses over, Nate. And I do see a lot of dancers, which is kind of great because I can really relate with whatever positions they're in and where they're getting hurt and all that kind of stuff. And I understand their language, so it's kind of fun. But
one thing that I've come across personally, just talking about massage in social circles and with peers, I've had a few even coworkers in the past where I would bring up that like back in Ontario, that you were an RMT, and people would immediately mention that, like, the first thing that comes to mind is like, oh, so it's kind of like physio. And I'm like, no, it's not like physio, it's massage therapy. I don't know if this is something that you've come across out here.
Okay, so interesting, because as a practitioner, I have some clients that, because we do remedial exercise, and because, so that's your remedial exercise is your home care exercise. We can do it in the session as well. I always try to add it in at the end of every treatment, because I think there's always something you can do at home, whether it's stretching, strengthening. I always try to combine the two, because you know, I think you need a really good balance. So I try not to overstretch a lot of things. I like to stretch and then also work on strengthening. It's usually because there's something happening in that muscle, like a trigger point or not. So we want to work through that. Okay, so we're trained in remedial exercise as registered massage therapists, or in massage therapy school, and we're different from a physio, because physio, they have different modalities they can use. They can use things like acupuncture and ultrasound and laser and all of that. Now, some RMTs have taken additional courses, training and certified in things like laser therapy or ultrasound therapy or acupuncture. In British Columbia, it's a little bit different. Like, only the physios do that, and I think maybe some chiropractors might have certifications in it. But RMTs in general, we don't in BC do that. In Ontario, yes, it's a little bit different. So, again, province to province. So, physiotherapy, it's just a different vibe too in their setting, right? Because they're looking at how the muscle is functioning, how the joint is functioning, how your posture is, and how they can fix that, right? So what they can give you to balance everything out, rehabilitate that. It's a different type of clinical setting. Massage, we're working on the muscles, the tissue. Okay, we're working on the fascia. We're working sometimes on the visceral. So some of us do visceral work. You know, we do joint mobilizations as well. So a chiropractor does up to a grade 5. We do 0 to grade 4, or 1 to grade 4, sorry. So we do mobilizations too. So sometimes I'm moving joints and bones and things like that for people. And that's, you know, anyways, something that we talk about in treatment plans. We have quite a crossover with physiotherapists in a sense, because physio also will provide a little bit of massage, but it's not, they don't have the advanced technique training that we do. So it's going to be a different experience with a physiotherapist than a massage therapist. Now, I have been known to receive comments from clients that I work more like a physiotherapist because I do a lot of range of motion, stretching the body while it's on the table. I do a little bit of muscle energy work, again, mobilizations. I'm doing strengthening, stretching, contract, relax, all of that kind of stuff on the table. So some PNF. So, you know, like there's just so many different things that I add into the treatment. But again, it's according to whatever you need, right? So what you need emotionally and physically, right? They have to match what I'm doing with you, right? So that's I have to look at all of that. But physiotherapy, yes. Sometimes I refer people out because I'm like, hey, this is all we can do. This falls under my umbrella. This is under my scope. This is what we can do together. But I think you need somebody else. Like physiotherapy just might be able to do a little bit more. They do shockwave therapy. They do some really interesting stuff that, like, you know, that's just out of my scope and really, really cool results. So, yeah, so physio I definitely refer to. It's the same with chiro. If I can't adjust and get the mobilization and like that joint where it needs to be, right, where it's feeling better, of course, absolutely, I'm like, you need to go to a chiropractor. That's the best thing about being in my field and where we are. I'm going to say in West Kelowna, I really experienced this in Ontario too, in the town that we were in, is the networking aspect. You find out, you know, who the other practitioners are, the healthcare practitioners, and what they have to offer and what the feedback is, right? So I ask a lot of clients, oh, you went to see this person, tell me the feedback, give me the information, right? This osteopath was fantastic for you. Okay, great. Well, 6 other people said this osteopath was fantastic too. So I'm going to start recommending, you know, and referring out to these people. So now in West Kelowna, I've met tons of chiros, a few physios, lots of other RMTs, because I'll refer out to RMTs, of course, naturopaths, so on and so forth, and we all just acupuncturists, and yeah, just refer back and forth and around to each other, and you know, not one fits all. So I've always got a handful of everybody to just kind of go try them out. So, but yes, so I don't know. Long story short, physio and registered massage therapy, there's quite a difference too. I also want to put in there with physiotherapy, they have to go to university, they have to get their degree first, and then they go in, they do their hours for physiotherapy, and then they register that way. With massage therapy, we usually go to a private school. We do, you know, it's basically 2 years of schooling. It's very intense, and then we have clinic experience and outreach experience. There are college programs that are available out there as well, where you go to college for 2 to 3 years, I think. I'm sorry, I'm not up on like the BC college thing, so for massage therapy, other than private school, which is usually 16 months. And then you do your board exams, so you have to do a practical, you have to do a written, an oral practical and a written, and then you have to pass both and have a certain over 70% and all of that, and then maintain your registration and continue with professional development to maintain your registration.
Okay. All right. So at this point, I just want to put it out there. If you have any questions, anybody who's watching right now, if you have any questions you want to ask Kerri-Ann,
you're gonna ask about my bangs.
You can, whether it's related to RMT or hair color or whatever, go for it. Because we are going to be wrapping up very soon, so I just want to give the opportunity for if anybody does have any questions regarding predominantly pediatric or just massage therapy in general. Feel free to just put it up there.
I'm going to talk too, actually, because
yeah.
we kind of had a chat on the drive up, and we were talking about pediatrics. So most people are like, they don't even think about pediatrics, and again, like I said earlier, they don't even think about massage and for their kids. So pediatric in British Columbia is 19 years under, and in Ontario Ontario it's 18. In the States we've got like 21, and right. So they're considered children, right? So not quite adults yet. So that's everyone that falls under pediatric and pediatric care. So with massage therapy, again, if I wanted to go into infants and infancy, and when we're massaging babies, and how do we ask consent, and Tina Allen's fantastic. She sort of created this little, it's almost like her own little sign language, right? So babies recognize it. But we rub our hands together, and are you ready for your massage? And we look, we observe what's happening with the child, right? If the baby's making eye contact, if the baby's like crying and squirming, and so there's all these cues that we're looking for that'll tell us whether or not we have consent. And the same as with when we're actually placing our hands gently on and each child, I mean, nonverbal too, right? So I work with some children who are nonverbal, and it's very much, I watch their body language. I feel for what's happening. If they're pulling away, then they're, okay, so where would you like me to treat next, right? And maybe they'll reach another limb out. Maybe they won't. Maybe they'll turn their back, for a second. Maybe they're distracted by something else. We go focus in on that other thing. Maybe I start singing a song, or we would do some movement, or we get off the table in the sense, right? And with kids, the children wear their clothing. That's another thing I just wanted to put out there. I do have a few little clients that they're 5 and they're just like, I'm having a massage, and they just throw everything off and get on that table, and they're covered up, of course, just like adults, and I do talk very clearly about that. We make sure that we're draping, we make sure that you're covered with a sheet. I'll treat through the sheet sometimes, or if they want oil on their skin, we talk about the coconut oil, we talk about not using scent and all of that kind of stuff. And I do have an orange oil that sometimes the kids like, and they'll have a little dab on their fingers. But it's all about consent with these kids, and empowering these kids to grow up and still, have a really good understanding of consent and their body, and knowing what is appropriate touch and what is inappropriate touch. And I know this is something that we talk about, and I can rant on about the world and current events and consent, but this is really important. So as parents, this is a big part, just to reassure you with massage therapy, and this is something you can talk to massage therapists about, any practitioner, chiro as well, is just that consent and making sure that your kids are giving permission. And again, when they're having treatments, like I said, they're not, usually they're in their clothes. Usually we're like, we could be standing, we could be sitting, we could be crawling around on the floor. Sometimes I have yoga mats, I've got stuffies everywhere. It's a fun time. But as soon as they say they're done. And I'm hands off. And if a kid falls asleep, hands off, right? Like, it's because they can't give consent at that point. And so these are the things that I try to teach them while they're actually having massage, which is great, because out in the real world, when they're not in the treatment room, they can do the same thing on the playground. Like, no, I didn't consent for you to high five me or give me a hug. And so, anyways, it's just how it's transferable into outside of the treatment room. Okay, I'm gonna stop ranting.
All right, so we will take a moment to just in the next couple minutes to wrap up. I will say this much though. As always, I'll be posting this to the Coffee Talk with Nate Facebook group and that page. So to come back and rewatch this, by all means. And if you have some questions that you thought of maybe afterwards, you can either you can email me, and then I'll pass that on to Kerri-Ann, get an answer for you. My email being nathan@hurthealrepeat.com, or would you feel comfortable people just contacting you directly?
Absolutely. I'm always available, so you can, I don't answer right away, but I'm always available for questions and information. I love to share information. So you can email me at khuttonrmt@gmail.com. So khuttonrmt@gmail.com.
Yes, and of course, like if you, I've had some people that just they post comments or questions just on the Coffee Talk with Nate page. And if anything comes up related to pediatric massage or just massage in general, massage for kids, then by all means I will do everything in my power to find an answer to those questions that you would have. I want to thank Kerri-Ann for taking an opportunity to sit outside with me and do this interview, so thank you.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me.
No problem. And for July, I have no flipping idea what I'm going to do for that live chat, so
Maybe
I'll
I
keep
should
you
come
posted.
back.
Yeah, I'll keep you guys posted, and we'll see what we could piece together. Without any further ado, I'm going to sign off, and because we've got some skateboarding and walking and more
Surfing.
coffee and surfing to check out, because those are the things that you don't want to get done while you're on the island. So in any case, folks, have a wonderful day. Thank you for coming out. Thank you for watching, and many blessings, and blessed be.